Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I am B. Lately, I have been inundated with many requests for videos on how I healed very specific things. And so I wanted to do a series of videos called How Did I? And I started with one as an intro video just recently called How Did I Heal? If you haven't watched that one, go first, check that one out. Next up, we're going to start on a very focused approach to how did I heal my diabetes and answer that question. Okay, hold on. There we go. Diabetes. I was vastly overweight. My blood sugar was continuing to climb, and I was not in a good way. And I knew first and foremost, I had to heal the diabetes, probably more so than any of the other conditions I had, because one of the symptoms that comes along with diabetes, well, two of the symptoms that came along with diabetes that were very disruptive to my life was one, incontinence, and having the inability to get to the bathroom on time without there being some leakage. I didn't enjoy that much at all, especially when I was out trying to do my aligned walking. I felt like I was far too young to be suffering this kind of an issue, and it was distasteful beyond measure. The other symptom that came along with my diabetes was neuropathic pain shooting down my left leg into my foot. So every time I stepped down, it felt like I was being electrocuted. And that was very, very unpleasant. So my primary goal after I had received the diagnosis that yes, you now officially because I had a couple of blood tests the years prior to that saying, your blood sugars are a little sus, maybe keep an eye on that. And I was like, okay, I'm trying to, but I wasn't trying really that hard. So I suppose the first thing you need to do when it comes to curing your diabetes, and this is type 2, not type 1. I didn't have type 1, so I can't speak on that. And also, I should note that none of this is medical advice. I'm not a medical doctor. I am a person that cured myself of type 2 diabetes through my own research, my own practices, my own education, and my own doings, my own understanding of the world. So do not take anything I say as medical advice or anything along those lines, and be forewarned that the majority of what I might say might completely differ to what some expert out there might be suggesting to you. So I certainly found that I went against a lot of the recommended things. Yep. So first and foremost is get past your mind. Get past your thinking that you're doing everything okay. If you're not going to take an honest to goodness look at what you're actually consuming and take accountability for yourself, then you're going to be fighting yourself. And yourself is the hardest person to fight, because your mind may be telling you that, hey, what you're doing, I'm doing healthy. It's not so bad. The occasional dessert. So stop lying to yourself. I lied to myself really quite successfully in the times that I would be like, I'm just having these donuts because, I had a bad day and they're medicinal. I used to actually say that, yes. These particular donuts are medicinal donuts. And I'd laugh and I'd jest and I'd wonder why I looked like a small-sized manatee, because I was eating medicinal donuts. So if you don't get past your own bullshit, you're not going to lose the weight that is required to reduce your blood sugar. So as long as you're in denial or distortion or delusion, you will be fighting a battle you cannot win. So the first battle is accepting that there's a problem. And so when my blood sugars went from, there's a little bit high, we should monitor that, to like, whoa, you have a problem and we need to put you on metformin to get this under control. And yeah, now that explains why you're peeing yourself and have a sharpshooting leg situation. So the first thing to beat diabetes is to accept that your eating sucks and that you need to do something about it and start taking the situation very seriously. Medications, while are useful to keep the symptoms at bay, are never going to cure you. They're not a cure. Okay, so metformin or the insulin that you might be forced to take, that's not going to cure you. That's just going to counteract all the damage that you are doing to you when you consume foods you shouldn't eat. And you know you shouldn't eat them. But I'm going to trigger you when I tell you that you know you shouldn't eat them, because you'll be like, yeah, but. So no yeah buts. You need to take accountability, number one. Number two, you need to throw out everything you ever thought you knew about diet and nutrition, because it's what's got you into this mess. It's not what's going to get you out. If you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to keep getting what you've always got. If you want different results, you're going to have to do differently, which means dramatically differently. And within dramatically differently, the first thing you're going to have to do is start listening to your body, not listening to experts outside of yourself. That includes me. You need to be your own guru. You need to be your own doctor. You need to be your own. And I'm not saying don't go to doctors. Absolutely go to doctors. Go to the doctors, get your blood work checked as frequently as possible. Utilize them for what they can give you, but don't put them in a superior position of knowing you more than you know you. Because I guarantee nobody on this planet knows you better than you know you. And your body, you are the expert of the body. You are the driver. You know that body inside and out, intimately. And if your body is screaming at you because it's got diseases that are presenting, that's because it wants to be heard. So we're going to start listening to our body and start accepting the fact that I am the expert of my body, and my body is a Ferrari. And I'm going to start treating my body like it is a Ferrari. I'm going to take care of that and listen to it and get right on in there, up and personal, and fight for myself and be my own, my own hero. Be my own person that's going to stand up for myself, like a cheerleader. All of these types of roles. So recasting yourself as the hero in your own story is going to help facilitate you standing up for yourself and doing what's right and best for you as you learn to communicate with your body and placing your body's information above anybody experts out there. I don't care if they have letters after their name or they went to school for an extended period of time. They still are not the expert of your body. Okay, they may have education on how the general bodies work, or they may have been educated to say, this diet is what is recommended for people. No, your body may not need 3 meals a day. It's quite possible. Your body may not need to eat at breakfast. Your body might require different things than everybody else is eating. And you may have sensitivities to certain things. So recasting yourself as your own master of your body is the number 2 point that I'm going to bring into how to heal from diabetes. Number 3, in the process of getting really real, so we'll go back to 1 and accountability, and let's get real. Let's get real about how we consume foods and why we consume foods. If the reasons why you're consuming foods is for pleasure, joy, and comfort, then what's going on is you're comfort eating, which means you're eating for your emotions. You're not eating for your body. And we need to stop eating for our emotions and deal with our emotions as a side of what we're going to do to help us. But at the present moment in time, let's just stay focused on the body and stay functional eating. What is functional eating? Let's get real about functional eating. It means eating the foods that is going to provide your Ferrari with the most nutrient dense options that you can get, as well as not consuming the foods that are going to exacerbate your system, as well as eating the foods that are going to help eliminate some of the problems. So we have to start looking at food as it's a function. We don't pour just anything into our Ferrari. We pour the best oils and the best gas into the car to make it run the best, because we want to run the best. So we're no longer treating our body like an afterthought. We are treating our body like a priority. It has to be number one on the priority list, even more so than the emotions. We have to start with the body. So actual functional eating means looking at foods at what does this food actually provide for my body? Does it have a function other than it feels good and tastes good? Then if it doesn't, then it fails the test. So I'm going to go through some of the functional eating and why I eat certain things that I do. Now, I recently did a video not so long ago about the Spiritual Warriors smoothie. I've also done one a while back on the Spiritual Warriors breakfast. And these just differ in one is liquid form and one is not liquid form. I've moved into the smoothie because that's what my body likes better. But when I started at the beginning, I wanted a heavier, denser breakfast. So hop on into either of those videos, and they are available in the body playlist. It outlines very clearly why I eat those foods and why I don't eat other foods. So let's first look at foods that we shouldn't eat. We shouldn't be eating any grains. Oh, wait a second. That goes completely against everything what all the experts say. Yeah, see, as I said, a lot of what I advise is going to be against what you might have been indoctrinated to believe, to think that you need grains as a source of energy. You don't. You need fat. What? Oh no, I'm saying it again. Something totally opposite to what everybody's told. We are indoctrinated to believe that fats are bad for us. That's not true. Fats are very, very good for us. It just depends on which fats. Some fats are very bad for us, like canola oil. Don't eat that shit. However, certain oils are incredibly good for us. So we want to minimize how many carbs we're eating, the grains, the glutens, the heavy, dense, carbohydrate-rich foods, and move into a protein and fat-based primary diet. What? Yes. So when we eliminate all the carbohydrates, and carbohydrates have high glycemic index ranking. Now, that's not me. That's actual science. You can download a list called Glycemic Load Index list of foods available free on the internet. And there's 3 rankings. One is green list, one is orange list, one is red list. And basically, you only want to solely eat off of the greens list. And the green list is your green light, go, eat these, low glycemic load, which means low sugar intake. And so then we're like, well, if I'm eliminating half of the things that I actually eat, what can I eat? How am I going to survive? You're going to survive off of lots of proteins and lots of fats. So proteins, you want to eat your good sourced quality meats and poultries and fishes. And when I say your meats, you want to eat things that come with a good amount of natural fat attached to it. If you take all the fat off of the meat, then you're not getting the food that your body needs to burn. So we're going from burning carbohydrate to burning fat. In the fats department, we want to be eating things like coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil, and getting rid of things like vegetable oil and canola oil. Those are not good oils, they're good fats. So high fat sources from natural fats and not processed fats. High quality proteins, not manipulated proteins, not things that have been, chopped up, mixed, minced, formed into a tube. and things like that. So the closer you get to like a natural source, organic and or free range or all of that for your proteins, the much better off you're going to be. And the same with your fats. You need to be consuming fat. If you're hungry, you're not eating enough fat. It's true. But be forewarned, if you're consuming fats while you're still consuming carbohydrates, that's the problem. The problem is you're consuming two sources of energy at the same time. So when we reduce how many carbohydrates we have to increase the amount of actual fats that you're eating. On top of proteins and fats, we need to be eating vegetables. If you're not eating some vegetables, you need to be having greens powder daily at least. And when I talk about vegetables, I'm not talking about eating copious amounts of salad because it's not nutrient dense. Despite what you think, the amount of effort you need to, and the amount of like leaves you need to consume before you're going to feel satiated is a lot. So go into denser vegetables, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. They're heavier, celery. All of those are going to be a little bit more dense in your stomach, which is going to make you feel a lot more full. With vegetables, do check out whether or not you're eating a nightshade vegetable. What's a nightshade vegetable? Well, a nightshade vegetable has an inflammatory response in a lot of people's bodies. So you want to minimize those as much as you can, at least for a period of time, and do a trial to see, does this actually fit with my body? This is continuation of the video that I started. So I stopped that. I don't know why, but the flow wasn't there. I was talking about inflammation, and inflammation is a huge thing that needs to be addressed because a lot of people's goals to lose weight, they're focused on the wrong thing. Instead of focusing on how much fat is in my body and how much do I weigh, we really should switch our focus to how much inflammation is in my body, because a lot of that fat is actually inflamed cells in your body. So tackling inflammation is going to help assist you in your weight loss. It's going to help assist you in your curing of diabetes and other conditions. In fact, all of the conditions. I think the majority of what the problem is inflammation. And why are we inflamed? Because we're consuming foods that inflame our system. We're consuming foods that have food colorings. We're consuming foods that have preservatives. We're consuming foods, high sugar content foods. And I've got so many videos on sugar. You should be not eating any sugar whatsoever. It's a once in a blue moon kind of treat. There are sugar replacements that you can be having for sweetness. We're consuming a high amount of genetically modified foods. We're consuming nightshade vegetables, as I just mentioned. We're consuming all kinds of things that now we're having an inflammatory response. So fibromyalgia, inflammation response. Diabetes, inflammation response. It's inflammation within the organs. It's inflammation within our flesh. It's inflammation. So if you have an inflammation problem, that's the core problem. So when we eliminate foods that cause inflammatory responses and focus on foods that are more natural and easier for the body to digest, it creates an environment where the body can begin to heal itself. So there are anti-inflammatory diets. So I've already suggested a low glycemic index diet and look at the foods from the green list. You might want to also do a little bit of research into anti-inflammatory diets and sticking to things that are on those. So those are the two diets that I recommend as getting your food lists of what you can work with and keeping it simple. So to cure my diabetes, I kept it as simple as possible. In eliminating so many things, I was like, well, now what am I going to eat? So I had my Spiritual Warriors breakfast for a period of time, which eventually turned into the Spiritual Warriors smoothie. Please check out those videos. That was my breakfast primarily every day. On a Sunday, I might have a fry up. So again, protein and fat dense. Then for lunch, I work to heal and repair the gut, because if the gut is not functioning, then all of your other organs and everything in your body, your skin, your bones is going to be affected by inflammation markers. And if you're wondering, maybe I do have inflammation in my body, then I highly recommend what you do is you find a naturopath doctor in your community that does live blood cell testing. Live blood cell testing. They prick your finger, they put a little bit of your blood on a slide, they put the slide under a microscope, you're there in the room, you can watch your blood swimming around, and they'll break down and explain to you where you have inflammation and what you should do and what you should eat. And they're going to tell you to eat a lot of the same foods that I am telling you to eat. So high protein sources, good vegetation sources, high omega sources, high probiotic sources, and heal the leaky gut. To heal the leaky gut that I had, which I needed, was all tied in together. Anything food related, diabetes is a food related condition, as well as the inflammation that then caused all my other symptoms. So I'll go into those videos separately. But in healing the leaky gut, I ate homemade bone broth every single day. Bone broth for poultry bones, I would cook for 24 hours, and bigger beef bones, I would cook for 48 hours. And now listen, I understand that that's not going to resonate with a lot of people's morals and things like that, but when you are ill and you are diseased and nature provides you with a source of collagen that is supplied through bones, you might find that you are drawn into eating things to help yourself cure. So this is a cure. It was medicinal to me to be able to have and consume this, and it did repair my gut. That's why I'm healed. So I understand that a lot of people have issues with that. As my journey has progressed along, I knew eventually I'd be getting to a place where meats would become different in my diet. I don't consume beef anymore because it's now too heavy. Or before, I needed the heavy foods to help me heal. Now I'm in a state where I can't, my body just can't tolerate the heavier foods. I'm eating, I still consume poultry, and I still consume a lot of fish for my omegas. And then I have other vegetation protein sources like lentils, and chia and hemp and other things like that, pea powder in my smoothie mix. So go watch the videos again on the smoothie. And then for dinner, I would be a heavy protein source with a heavy vegetation. So you're getting your proteins, your fats, your vegetations, your probiotics, all your functional foods, everything that you need to help you eat functionally. So you have to be willing to change out of everything you ever thought about food. And is it restrictive? Yes. Is it pleasant? Not necessarily, to eat the same things every day. It's simple. It minimizes how many groceries you're buying that end up going off in your fridge, and then you feel guilty because you didn't eat that bag of aubergine or carrots or whatever. So yes, you will go through less groceries, more expensive groceries, because you're buying higher quality groceries. But in the long run, you end up spending less money because the foods that you're consuming are creating an environment in your body to heal. So you therefore, over time, need to consume less foods, and you'll be functioning just overall better. So you're also not needing to buy as many supplements. You're also not needing to go to the doctor as often. You're also not needing to buy medications. So I'm off all my meds. I don't take metformin anymore because I cured the diabetes. So I'm saving money on one side. It's worth it. It's more cost effective to be buying a good quality full nutrition protein powder and a good quality greens powder. And you might think those are really expensive products, but it's way less expensive than buying meds. It should also be mentioned that you cannot look at any individual condition within just a vacuum and say this is just solely a body issue. Diabetes is very much about your sweetness, of how sweet your life is. And so when I recognized that my life was not sweet, because I was also suffering from severe depression, I needed to make my life sweeter. And so naturally, not with sugars. So in doing so, I started to learn to love myself. I started to get away from toxic situations around me. I started to do all kinds of healing. So diabetes, while you might think it's just a body issue, in actuality, there is no such thing as just a body issue, because it's all interconnected: body, emotions, mind, soul. So I had to take a holistic approach and first and foremost, focus on the body. Secondly, start creating a sweeter environment for myself emotionally through love, compassion, care. And I have an emotions playlist, so please check that out. And please, as I said, check out the ABLE program playlist so that you can understand a little bit about the whole the holistic way I was looking at healing my life, because I wasn't healing diabetes just in that and nothing else. It was all interconnected with everything else that was wrong with me. So on the emotional, I had to start learning to express my emotions and be in my emotions. And the more I was releasing the bitter energies, the more imbalance I could become in my life. And on the mental side of things, I had to look at how I spoke to myself and how I treated myself overall. So curing diabetes is got to be a holistic approach, just like curing anything else. Now, if you need help with your own plan of trying to cure yourself from this, and you would like to discuss with me, knowing that I am not a medical doctor, my advice is not congruent with what I received from a nutritionist's appointment, which boggled my brains, because I did go to a diabetes clinic to get some nutrition information, and they were telling me to not eat avocados, to eat low-fat yogurt, never ever eat anything that's called low-fat. Low-fat means in translation is chemical shitstorm, because if they take it, the natural fats, they're replacing natural fats with a concoction of some kind, which is not good for you and will cause more inflammation. They also told me to consume things like diet pop, when I was like, what? Are you insane? Because that's an aspartame, and aspartame's a natural neurotoxin, which again is is inflammatory in nature. And when I called her out on it, her response was to say to me, "I've been drinking Diet Coke for 27 years and I'm fine." Yeah, I'm going to just let that sit in. So at that point, I sat down and I was like, there's nothing that this woman can give me. So I'm going to go do my own research. And so I researched glycemic index diets. I researched paleo diets. I researched keto diets. I researched the Mediterranean diets. I researched the carnivore diets. I researched anti-inflammatory diets. I researched anti-candida diets. And if, by the way, should add on to this, if weight is an issue, I guarantee to you, you also have, on top of the diabetes, you most likely have a candida overgrowth. And I've done lots of videos on candida overgrowth in the foods playlist, because as long as you have candida in your system, you are going to be inflamed. So I took all of the research and plotted into one diet plan to help cure me of my diabetes, help cure me and help me lose the weight, help cure my fibromyalgia, which again, I repeat, is an inflammation response, and help cure me of the depression, and help cure me of all the other long list of conditions that I had, because I was just an absolute shit show. And that's why if you go back to my earlier videos, the title of them are all called Welcome to the Unfuckening Movement, because I had to seriously unfuck my life. And that's what I'm still doing. So if you need help on your own journey and you would like to book a one-on-one with me, feel free to reach out. The way to do that is to email me at justbebeing@gmail.com. Or you can send me a message on Messenger and we can set up a Zoom or a video messenger call and do an hour call. All my services are donation-based. I am sending you all my absolute love, and thank you very much for all the likes, shares, subscriptions, and everything else that comes along with this wonderful world of YouTube land. And peace out.